Hey, welcome to Chalk Talk with 70sbig.com. Today's topic is going to be about warming up. And you might think, the fuck do I need to know about warming up for? But I want to talk about the physiology behind general and specific warm-up so that maybe you'll understand why it's important so that you'll implement it in your actual training session. So a general warm-up has multiple purposes. So what a general warm-up is doing something like jump roping, rowing, maybe a light run if you're adapted to it, cycling on a stationary cycle, or cycling periodically with math. Those things are they're general warm-ups. They're something that your entire body's doing. Even light calisthenics will work. So you're doing something for a few minutes and it has serving several purposes. You're starting to have muscular contractions, and so what that's going to do is it's going to require. Stop looking over there. It's going to require blood flow. It's going to increase the blood flow to the muscles. So one thing that's going to do is it's going to improve circulation, because when you're at rest, physiologically speaking, most of your blood is in your trunk, right in here, and that's to just supply the vital organs in the digestive system. When you start exercising, then it's going to shunt blood to your extremities so that blood is going to those muscles so that they can use it in order to produce energy and to supply the muscles. So your heart rate will increase a bit, and then your blood pressure will increase. And for some people that's important. The wife holding the camera has like a low blood pressure, and so her circulation, especially when it's cold, decreases. So she needs that warm up in order to get the blood flow to the extremities, because when you're cold, you also collect blood in your trunk. So that's why you see us training in the cold, you don't want a Tommy Tough guy and just wear shorts, because you want to have everything covered so that you keep those structures warm, so that your warm-up leads into this training session when you do your specific warm-up, and you actually are maintaining body warmth around those joints so that the blood doesn't seep back into your trunk because you're cold. And that's going to help have better performance on the actual lifts and stuff like that if you're warm. So cold weather spandex, whatever you want to wear, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you're warm during cold training. So speaking of which, the temperature increases in the musculature at the site that you're working, and generally your temperature will increase a little bit, which is important for the cold stuff, but it's still important to get your muscles primed for proper activity. That's also going to help with muscular function. Like the muscles themselves will be able to go through a greater range of motion and be stretched better when they're warm compared to being cold. There's a hormone release when you're doing these things, because hormones kind of help facilitate these things like increasing heart rate and blood pressure. And so there's various hormones that basically they're released when you're starting that activity that are going to help you in the training session. Because if you just jump right into doing something, then you're not going to have been primed up to it. So think about like warming up your engine when you're in the driveway prior to driving down the road fast. And then last thing, it doesn't actually lube your joint, and that is not to be confused with pubes the joints, but it's just lubing your joints. It's just that whole warmth thing helps kind of allows the joints to move properly through a full range of motion. So a general warm-up is serving the purpose. It's mostly getting blood out to the extremities and increasing temperature so that you're priming the muscle for what it's about to do, and that's important. So 3 to 5 minutes of some sort of activity, just any general movement will do. So if you're just spastically moving around like a meth head, that might work too. So then you move into your specific warm-up that is going to be specific to your actual, what you're doing that day. If you're doing some CrossFit thing, then you might start doing some of the exercises or lifts that you're going to do in that particular workout. And if you're lifting, then you're going to move into your first lift, if it's squatting or pressing or whatever. So a lot of people miss, especially when they're new to it, but I've even seen a lot of people that are quite experienced kind of like jack up specific warm-up. So generally speaking, you move from a lightweight to a heavyweight, and as you do that, you decrease the reps as you go. So what that's doing is it's basically priming the nervous system for this adjustment to its ability to apply force. Now, I'm not going to get into that too much because I probably forgot most of it anyway, but your neuromuscular efficiency is going to be better when you have gradually increased it up to that point. That's why you just don't throw 500 pounds on your back. You take the step ladder all the way up to 500 pounds. And that's why you're not going to do 5s the whole way up if you're trying to do a set of 5 at 500 or 400 or 300, whatever your set is going to be. You don't want to do 5s all the way up or 10s all the way up, because that's going to fatigue you for the actual work set. And the work set should be the thing that's causing the adaptive stress for the day. And so you don't want your warm-ups to be something that takes away or is debilitating to the work set or the adaptive stress. You want the warm-up sets to prepare you for the adaptive stress. So you'll hear the term like the reps titrate down as the weight goes up. So if you're going to do 315 as your first set of 5 on a given workout with a given exercise, then you might do 135 for 5, then you might do 185 for 5 if you want to do that, then 225 for 3, then maybe 275 for a single or a double. So it went 5, 3, 1, or 2, and then the actual work set. So that's how you titrate your reps down as the weight increases. And obviously this specific warm-up has the specificity of what you're doing, and I more so wrote that for the gear that you might be wearing. Not like powerlifting gear, but like if you're going to wear a belt, then you don't want to just throw that on your work set. You want to have warmed up with that. So some people say like around 80% of what you're going to do that day you'll put on the belt. Basically get to some level where you're going to put it on. If you're getting in the 300s or something, put it on at 225. If you're going to be pressing above 150, put it on starting at 130-ish. So if you're going to wear your belt, or you're going to have some sort of, you're going to be using straps or something, then use specificity utilize specificity in your actual warm-up. So the general warm-up is preparing the body for activity. The specific warm-up is preparing the body for that actual lift. And you think of this as like the blood and the warmth aspect, and this is like the neuromuscular aspect that's preparing the body for that particular lift. So both of these things are important. I think in practical programming, in one sentence, it said if you don't have time to warm up, you don't have time to lift or to train. And that's the case. This is going to be stuff that helps prevent injury. It increases your performance in a given session. And by not doing these things, you can have muscle strains, you can have muscle tears, you can just have a shitty training session. So if you're not doing some sort of general warm-up, then kind of make sure you're doing it. And this will change depending on the environment too, because if you do foam rolling or something when it's hot out or it's like 80 degrees in the gym, you're probably going to be sweaty at that point. You're going to have done a general warm-up. But if you're in the garage when it's 30 degrees outside, then that's not going to apply. So keep these things in mind, and then also keep in mind the whole, since it's cold right now, the whole clothing while you're training, because if you get cold in the middle of the session, that's also going to be debilitating to that given session. So general warm-up, specific warm-up, and then train. Hopefully that you kind of learn a little bit about the physiology behind it and why it's necessary, so that you actually implement it and have really good training sessions. See ya.